Hey everybody, welcome to the Dad Challenge Podcast. My name is Josh. Thanks for joining me. Today we're talking about this crazy Jubilee interview where you've got Gen Z parents versus millennial parents in a debate or a conversation about what it's like to be this. Now, I am a Gen Z. I'm Gen Z. But I'm not sure where I land, and I'm going to listen to some of this, but the reason we're doing this conversation because at the end they talk about child exploitation and kids' online digital footprints and things like that, which is a very, very big conversation. And the fact that it's being brought up in these debates is really important. So let's hear what they have to say, and let's see who's wrong. Okay. Okay, so this one is called Gen Z Parents versus Millennial Parents. It's on a channel called Jubilee, which is, I guess they debate. I don't know what they do here. But it's got 360,000 views, a lot of comments. There's a comment here that keeps popping up that says, "We pay our kids not in cash, but in candy and toys." So something tells me there's going to be a discussion or debate about child exploitation and what the kids do to bring their parents money, especially as influencers, because this is a really, really big deal. A lot of people make a lot of money online, okay? And it's only getting bigger. It's not getting smaller. There is a lot of room on social media to make a lot of money. It is not overly saturated. I don't think it ever will be overly saturated. People ebb and flow. The peaks happen. The valleys happen. But it is just, if you've got the ability to capture people's attention, you will make money on social media. The saddest part about all this is that a lot of them had to use their children to do it because they are like stale peanuts, personality-wise themselves. They're not nice to watch. They're not funny. Some of them are just total assholes. And so they use their children. Sometimes, often they do embarrassing moments. They see their injuries. They talk about their periods. They talk about really, really, really sensitive information. Some of them use their children who are terminally ill. Some of them use their kids who have diseases. Some of them use their kids who have like mental issues and all these kinds of things. And it doesn't matter. Like there's a lady out there called Tink Shitter Pants or something like that, where all she talks about is daughter's autism. And this kid doesn't even like look like or sound like or act like she has autism at all. For those parents with children with autism, okay? Maybe she has some personality tics like children with autism, but again, she's just using it to grow a huge platform. Tinker Shit Pants or something like that. I don't know what it's called. But it needs to be said that if you need your children to make money for you, you're a shitty person. Not only that, you have no ability to, if you don't have ability to bring people yourself to your channel, don't use your kids to do it. But that's it. Look at, what's the family called? I forget the name. They're going through divorce and stuff like that. But there's a couple of them. And they have their own TikToks. The moms do. Okay? But the kids have like 4 million followers on the accounts. But the mothers have their own TikToks where they try. And they have like 100,000 followers. So that's it. They try their best to do it. But they can't. And so they use their children. And the thing is, these kids have to work. And they are working a lot to get to the levels that they're getting to. You don't get 4 million followers, 10 million followers, 8 million followers as a child without putting your kid through massive amounts of work. Because to do this stuff, especially for kids, is work. It's not hard work. Don't get me wrong. It's just filming. But it's still work. And these kids don't get to enjoy their childhoods because their parents are busy using them for content every single day of their lives. So we got to stop this. Anyway, you know where I stand on it. So let's just hear a couple of, I have the chapters here for this. But I want to go through the questions quickly, see which one's interesting. Being your child's friend makes you a better parent. Parents shouldn't post pictures of their children online without their consent. 8 minutes. Let's get right to there. Great. Here we go.
So keep that in mind. Parents should not post pictures of their children online without their consent. Can they agree or step forward?
So if you agree with it, you step forward. Oh, nobody agrees with that. So I need you guys to understand this. Nobody is stepping forward that parents shouldn't post pictures of children on their consent. They don't agree with that. There's the problem, folks. That's both Gen Z and millennial parents think, no, I own my kids. And to the degree, I understand that, right? But in this day and age, you should have your kids' consent. You're not a good parent if you don't get your children's consent for putting them on the internet. And the thing is, and my argument is, and always will be, and I know it's black and white, you can't get their consent even if they say yes. Kids don't understand what they're getting themselves into. They can't give informed consent, is what I say, is what we all say here. There is no informed consent. because children cannot be informed of the outcome. And we have seen lots of crazy outcomes for a lot of these kids who are on social media, including attempted murder multiple times, stalkers showing up to doors, being stalked in their DMs, being having parasocial relationships develop with them all over the world, and sometimes locally. Look at Bobby from, I had him on, the dad of, what's her name? Oh my goodness, I'm having a brain fart. I've been working all day. Sorry, I've been in my garage working. Where he came on and said, I was at a restaurant with my daughter and people were approaching her. And he's like, they don't understand that that could be the outcome of their life. They don't get it, which is why they cannot give informed consent. Neither can you. So anyway, I'm surprised not one of these assholes stepped forward. Not one of them stepped forward. Okay, thank God.
So you're agreeing that parents should not post pictures, right?
I agree with like part of that. So I have a TikTok following, and like I have posted my kids previously in the past, but I noticed that my favorite content creators, they don't post their kids and they'll hide their children's faces, and it kind of brought up like a little light bulb in my head, and I'm just thinking to myself, why? And then it made my mind go over to Diddy and the Epstein files and all of these things that wouldn't have crossed my mind before. But now that I know how sick people's minds can be, and or all of the access that we have with AI.
Wait, she's a millennial? Okay.
You can create
I like that people are changing their mind as they listen to this.
Anything with any image. And you can make anything look like anything as long as you have their little face on it. And I couldn't imagine my son or somebody, or even myself or anybody logging online and then finding out that some dark, nasty stuff was happening and we didn't even know about it just because I posted a silly little video of my son playing basketball. I used to be okay with posting my kids online, but now I'm more so like, I'm pumping the brakes a little.
I like that. And that's the truth of this all. AI has changed the game, guys, and it's not going away. A lot of people are like, oh, yeah, farmers are refusing to let AI build their data centers. It's not going to stop AI. Guys, AI is literally coming in like an insane hot fire of craziness. It is the new industrial revolution, only it's digital revolution. It is going to change everything. It already has in the short time that we've all understood about it. It's been around since like 2015, 2016. But the enormous breakthroughs that are happening basically weekly, they're saying 12 months time, it's going to erase something like 60% of the jobs that can require a computer to do it. 60%. Okay, and they're saying in 18 months, it's going to even take away another 15% of those jobs. Eventually, it's going to be robots that are artificial intelligence taking over jobs that are physical. You know what I'm saying? No job is going to be safe from this. Underwater welding, you're like, oh, I can do that. A robot can do it. And better than you. Probably already. Okay? Electric, no, they can't do electric. Yes, they can. I have a literal remote control lawnmower that I just bought because I don't want to cut the ditch in the front of my house because it's bad on my ankles. Okay? It was like $2,000, this lawnmower. I know it's expensive for a lawnmower, okay? But it is 400 pounds. It's a legit lawnmower inside of a remote control. And it can learn how to cut my grass for me. And that's the simplest way to put all this stuff. AI is here. It is not going away. It is going to take over Hollywood eventually. Okay? Because you can make Pixar-level animations in seconds now. Seconds. Okay? So people can take a picture of your child, the voice of your child. I did this where I took the voice of Jess Fam. You could not tell the difference. Okay? This is happening. Old people are the ones who are the first victims of all this, by the way. And they're the ones getting called on and be like, Mom, I need money. I'm being kidnapped. And it's working. And that's just, it's getting so crazy. Now you're seeing this viral video go around of a guy, he's in an interview or something like that. And the instructor is like, I need you to wave 3 fingers in front of your face. And the guy won't do it because it's AI. But that is a way to do it. But determine whether or not the person in front of you is AI right now. But that's only going to happen now. A year down the road, that's going to be solved. AI will solve that. Okay, when we watched Will Smith eating spaghetti, it was like, oh, that's really weird looking and gross. And it's like, blah, blah, blah. Now you can't tell the difference. Okay, and that was a year ago compared to now. So I need you to understand that this is what they're really talking about. They're saying that you can take a picture of any child on the internet right now and you can turn it into any video you want. And there are nefarious AIs out there that exist on the dark web, and you don't even have to go on the dark web to get these things. And you can replace a picture of a child or a person in a video with another face doing what you want them to do. Okay, this is what's happening, and it is being distributed and sold on the internet. And a lot of these people know that it is their kids are doing it. They won't ever tell you they know, though, because as soon as they know, and they tell you, and they will continue to use their children. That's the thing. Because any parent out there who was a good parent, if someone presented you with a video of your child, a video that you put on of your kid online, and they presented you with a video that they took and turned it into AI something or other. Okay? What would you do next? What is your next step if you're a good parent? The next step is to literally eliminate any photo or video of your child on the internet. Most parents would do that. These assholes, they can't, because their paycheck relies on their children to be there. So they just be like, well, there's going to be predators. What can you do about it? That's what they say. They honestly believe that. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I initially disagreed because, I was thinking in absolutes, right? Like, I'm like you used to have, on my end, I wasn't like public or anything, but I used to have a private account that my friends and family could look at. And I just got to the point where I started seeing more stories like this, more influencers and other people on TikTok, and noticing like how many views any gymnastics videos gets, which is crazy. Saves, favorites.
See? They're catching it. Saves and favorites. A lot of people want to talk about this stuff, but really early on my channel, and you need to go watch it. Just type in Everly LeBrand on my channel, okay? This was the biggest aha moment on my channel so far. And I did it with a bunch of other creators too, just so you're aware. But Everly LeBrand was the biggest one that was like, oh my sweet heavens. Because I purchased very expensive analytics, engagement analytics that high-end brands use to establish what the influencer is getting so that they can't be lied to. So they'll find an influencer they want to work with. They use this called something, socialbook.io is what it was called, okay? It was very expensive, $800 to analyze a few channels, by the way. And a lot of people, that's not a lot of money, but it's money. It's almost $1,000 to analyze these channels. And so you analyze the channels to the engagement, not what they see, but what is actually being watched, because it tracks that metric. And Everly LeBrand's channel that had 7 million followers on it was being followed by 70% adult males, watching a little girl in dance leotards. That was so eye-opening. Go watch that video. I should repost it. But that was so eye-opening for a lot of us, and it was a game changer, I think, in this whole conversation.
Brits, I just don't feel that there's enough reason for me to post that, and like, what's the upside of it, basically? Like, am I getting gratification for it because I'm getting likes from my friends?
Yes.
I text my friends pictures, or if I'm on a call with someone or I'm in person with someone, I'll show them on my phone. With that said, it's kind of interesting because my daughter just booked a role in a short film, and so her public presence is going to be out there. But I think even though they can't technically consent, I think consent is important. And I think me being really aware of how exactly she's going to be...
How are you going to sit there and say they can't give consent, but you're just going to do it anyway? Like, you're admitting that they can't give consent. And you're like, well, but we're still going to do it. Like, you got to hear yourself. That's crazy. But child acting is a lot different than child influencing, because child actors, they are shielded from a lot of this. They're famous. They can be famous, but they're acting on camera. They're not, you're watching these stupid Disney shows. Those kids aren't like that in real life. You don't get to see their real life when they start their period, when they go on their first date, when they're in the hospital or when they're the dentist. You don't see all that shit. These kids are acting, then it's a job, then they go home. Right, and they're mandated to go through school. Their parents are mandated to put aside money for them and all this kind of stuff. Whereas influencer kids, none of that shit really exists. It's starting to happen, but it barely exists.
Portrayed out there online versus like, here's a silly picture of her doing something embarrassing. Like, it's her playing a character versus her life being put out there.
Like, kind of to like piggyback a little bit off of what you said, like the content that you choose to post.
These chairs are embarrassing.
Those kind of like some of the mukbangs that. Like, why is a child holding up a burrito with their mouth wide open? Like, girl, we know what you're doing, and you're getting a check from it, and that's not
exactly why we got to pretend like they're not doing it. Like, there's one, I forget the name of the girl. Oh my goodness, my brain is farting today, guys. I'm just exhausted. It's weird. I had some weird dreams last night. I was so tired. I had a dream that there was like aliens or monsters trying to attack our town or something like that, and the only way to fight back was to eat Tums. Yeah, the aliens were like, for some reason, if they would look at them or they would approach you, they touch you or something, you turn into dust. And I was like, oh my gosh, and I took a Tums, and I was like, I'm fine. So I was trying to feed everybody Tums. Anyway, where was I going with that? Yeah, I forget the name of the creator, but she's now gone. Jacqueline and Ren. Do you remember them? And I'm almost like very, very, very... I'm glad that she's off the internet, but at the same time, I'm not sure it's because Jacqueline was like, I'm protecting my daughter. I think something happened. I honestly think something happened because we've never heard from them ever again. I honestly think some shit went down and she just went off the internet. And so we'll never know. That's also really scary.
Okay.
I disagreed at first because I think that in
Gen
the climate
Z.
of this world, like...
This girl's... I'm a Gen Z. What the hell?
we have to protect like our daughters and our sons like from everything, because I grew up in the world of like cell phones and technology. There was iPhones by the time I was in middle school. Like that's what kids were asking for their birthdays. And like there is things.
Gen Z? Millennials before Gen Z. No, Gen Z's before Millennial. You were in junior high as a Gen Zer? Oh. Sorry, I'm wrong. I'm Generation X. I'm Gen X. I'm old. Damn. So like it's Gen Z and Millennial, and then I'm before these people. That's crazy.
Like on the internet that like children that I know, like even myself, have like put up there that like you can never take down. What you put on the internet, like it lasts forever. And like, mind you, like I think context is important. I don't have like a large social media following, and I mean I've posted pictures of like my family for our Christmas card to share those photos, or like I've posted some milestones of my baby. Like I do try to always be mindful though of keeping my baby fully clothed on all social media platforms, like just because like you never know.
When I start,
and imagine those people out there posting kids in the bathtub, potty training, naked. They're still, what's the Canadian influencers? What are they called? I forget the name. Guys, I'm so sorry. I'm forgetting all these names. You're probably saying it right now. You're like, Josh, it's these people. But it's Beck, something like that. And they're posting kids just run around naked on the beach. And I'll report it, and YouTube's like, nah, it's all good. Child nudity. Even though we know that these predators are watching all this stuff, they don't care. They do it on purpose.
Having kids, we just wanted to share these gifts because it was actually hard for us to have kids. We had 3 miscarriages before we had the children, and so we had a community that was well vested in our journey of becoming parents.
That's so beautiful.
And thank you. And I do have a pretty big social media following.
Okay.
But as my kids have gotten older, they have said, "Hey, Dad, don't post that photo of me. Hey, Dad or Mom, hey, don't put that up." And at that moment, I have a responsibility to respect their wishes as our children do age, as they do get older.
No, not as they age and get older. Their whole childhood. This doesn't need to be posted online. It doesn't. Like the girl said, if you want to share with friends and family, text them. That exists. It does not. This excuse that people use to be like, it's for friends and family and it's our journey. Show them privately. Or they're not really your friends. Is that what you're saying? Like, you don't have to show 1 million people online so Nana can see it from her Facebook. You can just send Nana an email. You know that, right? So that excuse has never flown, and I hate it that they use that all the time. It's we're journeying and documenting. So document it privately.
We do need to. There is a place where we do need to protect their wishes or how they want to present themselves. But I also do have a right to share information or photos as I see fit as the parent.
Yeah.
No, you don't. Well, you do, but I wish you didn't. He's right. You do. It's just morally you're wrong for doing it.
Ultimately, they will be protected because you're their father and you do everything to protect your children.
No, they ultimately will not be protected if you're sharing them on the internet. Ultimately, no, you have no control what's being used with the content you're putting on the internet. You literally lost all control. You do not have the right to tell anybody what to do with that content. You don't. You put it out there. It is consumable. They are downloading it and using it. And you could say it all you want. You have a right to say it, but they have a right to just be like, F off. I'll do whatever I want with this content. And they are. So this whole I'm protecting my child, as soon as you put the same words like I protect my child, but you put them on the internet like their whole lives, you're not protecting them. Those are incompatible, those statements, okay? Incompatible.
So, like, I think, like, too, context is so important. Like, the context in which we choose to share our children is important. And, like, you hear your kids say, I don't want this picture up there. Okay, like, that's amazing that you can give your kids that respect. Like, I know my parents would try to justify, like, I want to do this, I want to do that. And, like,
they're all changing their mind. I love it.
I think telling your kids, like, you're beautiful the way that you are, like, I want to share this with our family, that's different than being like, oh, I don't care how you feel. So, context is everything.
I think it's the equivalent of what that, parents that used to do back in the day, bring out their wallet with all the family.
That's not equivalent at all, you dumbass. I'm sorry if you're not a dumbass, but I'm calling you dumbass now because that statement is dumbassery. It is not the equivalent of pulling out a picture at the office and be like, here's my kids. Does he work with 1 million people and just does he put it on a camera and show the entire 1 million people? Like, it's not equivalent at all. You don't know who's looking at it. You don't know who's downloading it, who's saving it. You have no idea. It is not equivalent. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Right.
Like, it's the equivalent of social media. Is the same.
No, it's not.
I think is the same.
No, it's not. Social media, you do not know who's looking at it. You do not know. What?
kind of space.
The equivalent would be putting a picture of your kid on a big giant screen in New York Times Square. That's the equivalent. That's not it. You don't know who's looking on the internet.
For us. And so there is a space of discretion for sure. Statistics prove that children are more harmed by people who are family friends and people who are family members versus, the guy selling stuff at the park or in the...
Okay. But this just opens it up to even more people. So yeah, the statistics are correct in that. The ones closest to the family gender are the ones who are kids. But you're not opening them up to being, again, shared digitally on the internet nefariously to millions and millions of eyeballs. Millions. So you're just more danger. So they're already in danger, you're right. And now there's more.
Spaces. So
that's why I stopped.
I hate these arguments. These straw mans are like, well, there's predators everywhere. So what am I going to do? Just keep my kid indoors all day long? That's not what we're asking. But if you knew there were predators at the park, you wouldn't send them there by themselves, would you? You knew predators lived in your neighborhood. Would you send them out by themselves all the time? No, you wouldn't. So dumb, man. Oh my God.
125 friends and family or whatever.
Put me on these friggin' debates, please.
But you just never know. Or like, do they have people logging into their stuff?
I agree with what you were saying. When the kids are younger, right, it's up to you to protect them and...
Is this person's name Reason?
See what's fit for posting. So like when my kids are younger, and I have a cute little picture of them, I don't see a problem with posting it to the world, and I don't post pictures of them that they'd be embarrassed by later on in life.
You don't know what they're going to be embarrassed by later on in life. You don't know what's going to happen. We have seen so many children who became memes over the years, and not necessarily always bad, but we have seen some, like the Irma Gerd Goosebumps girl. You think she loves that meme? I don't know. Maybe. But there have been some people who've been turned into memes that was innocent at the time, and they are no longer innocent. Okay? Look at Rebecca Black. I know that she's enjoying a great career now, and she's actually quite talented. But she almost unalived herself for becoming that. And I know that was her putting it out, but her parents pay for it and put it out there. She became a meme. Becoming a meme, you don't know what's going to become a meme. You think her parents were like, oh, this is super embarrassing, let's put it out there so that we can hurt our children. No, they thought it was cute, and this is a good moment. We did a little music video, Friday, Friday. Like, they didn't think it was going to be bad. So you don't know what's going to happen with the shit you put on the internet. All right? Okay.
Just wholesome stuff. Me and my wife do social media. We're pretty big on there. I take it very seriously. My daughter, who's 3, she's getting older now, and there's been videos that she just doesn't want to do, and she's told us, and we're like, okay, you don't have to. And we do pay our kids, not in cash, but in candy, toys. They get, they'll get a brand deal, like a TikTok shop brand deal, and they'll get a brand new toy.
Are you shitting me? Who is this guy? Someone find this guy for me. So you make your kids work and you only pay them in a toy. Are you shitting me right now?
Their reward for doing the video is that toy, so that they're working.
Pay them if they're working, you asshole. I'm going to find out who this guy is. 100%. I'm going to snark on them.
For that toy. They don't get the toy if they don't do the video.
Are you serious? Did you just admit that out loud? So first of all, you're not paying them for the work that you're getting paid for, even though they're the ones doing the work. And if they don't do it, you don't reward them. So you're coercing your children into working and being child laborers. Are you hearing yourself? Who the f*** is this short little man? I need to find out who this guy is right now. Leave a comment below, please. Thank you.
It's also, in a way, doing it that way, it's teaching them work ethic. Like, it's more...
Children don't need to be taught work. I mean, to a degree, sure. That's chores and responsibility. Work ethic? Work ethic. And the work ethic you're teaching your children is like, here, make a video that doesn't do anything for anybody. That's not work ethic. They're not really working. They're being in a video. You want to teach your children work ethic, get them to help you, fix the car, mow the lawn, work ethic, work. You're just bribing your children to make you money. That's not work ethic, you total asshole. Who is this guy?
Or basically, they don't have to do it if they don't want to.
I'm going to find out who this guy is. Here he is, total twat. So this is Reason Robinson. He's got a large following. He says 42,000. Relatable, unhinged, stay-at-home dad. Dad of 3, ex-teen dad. He's a teen dad. And of course, look at this. He uses his children in content. So it's all his children.
Get ready with me while I talk about one of the best but worst days of
This dude's head is way too big for his body. What the hell? So yeah, he's a family vlogger. This guy here with a giant head and tiny little toes and arms. It's his kids. So he just admitted to you guys he forces his kids to work, and if they don't do it, they don't get toys and shit. Welcome to the show, Reason Robinson. I'm going to make sure he knows that he's welcome to the show. Let's continue. Now that I know who he is.
Post anything that would be embarrassing for them.
Do you think that
I don't think so. I know you see his content, it's all his kids.
There's an element of my parents want to do this, so I want to please them though? Like, are they really able to like that?
Why isn't no one asking them, hey, do you know that you just told us you bribe your children to work?
Age express their wants. And I say this because like I listened to Jeanette McCurdy's memoir. I'm glad my mom died. I don't know if you
Such a good book. Get that book, everybody.
Thinking of her.
Yeah, but like she talked about how as a child actor,
sorry, I'm going to stop because my ADHD brain. This woman has just admitted that she read the Jeanette McCurdy book about being a child actor and how terrible it was, and then also admitted 5 minutes ago that she's putting her kids in movies and shit. This one, that's a sleeper build right there. That's a wolf in sheep's clothing. She understands, she read the book, it hit her, impacted her, and yet she's still putting her child in that industry. Who is this lady? Someone tell me who this shit is. I want to know who that is too.
Her mom was so like, she learned to act by acting toward her mom because she knew her mom's moods or whatever. Not saying that about y'all.
Just for reference, she's the blonde girl from iCarly.
Yeah, so she was like a Nickelodeon star, super famous and successful for a child, but she acted so that her mom would be happy and to please her mom, right? And she learned really quickly how temperamental her mom would be, or just like, even if you're, really genuinely invested in your child's success, like,
you're going to be on the show that's going to get hundreds of thousands of views, and that's a shirt you're going to wear. I'm going to make fun of this guy now, just so you're aware. He's on my shit list. Okay? This guy still has freaking training wheels on a bike. He still falls off the bike. That's the thing. He still sucks in with training wheels. Okay? He's still size 4. He can go to Winners and get kids, start shop in the kids aisle. Okay? Still gets, because you can get some better cool kids. If you go to like, what's it called? Foot Locker Kids, they got way cooler shoes. So he still gets to shop there. He gets a discount on his clothes. He still gets ID'd at the movie theater. You know what I'm saying? Even though he has a little cool tattoo here. He's hey bro, this is PG rated R. I don't think you're allowed in here. He's like, wait, I have ID. Okay. Like, you can go to the playground and kids are coming, hey, you want to play? He's like, I'm actually a dad. Do you know what I'm saying? This is that guy. He looks like a leprechaun. But like a tiny like he's like, of the leprechauns, he's a runt. Even other leprechauns, like, you're like, look how small that leprechaun is, and they are also leprechauns. You know what I'm saying? So anyway,
as a child, you want to see your parents happy. You want to get that like, oh, I did something to make them proud. So I think there's something interesting about this idea of consent at a younger age. And it's funny because my daughter keeps being like, can you post that? And I'm like, post that to where? What are you even talking about? And she's like, can we make a YouTube video? Can we do this? And I'm like, it's actually my responsibility to be like, you don't have the context. You don't understand what that's going to do. It looks really fun, but like, I have to say no and explain why, actually.
I think that brings us into the topic.
This girl, I cannot stop staring at her. She looks like Micah Stauffer. I'm sorry. She totally looks like Micah Stauffer.
Of exploitation, like, what are we doing it for, like, our child's reward, or are we doing it for our reward and our gain ultimately?
Exactly.
Like, I'm not saying that anything that you're doing is wrong.
No, he's doing wrong, but she's asking the right questions. Who is this for?
Like, it's a thing to think about. Like, when we are sitting there posting things of our children, are we posting it to share the joy and the blessings of having a family, or are we doing it to specifically gain something from the world?
This girl's smart. I like her so far. My favorite so far of all these girls. The other one on the other side, again, such an idiot. Reads Jeanette McCurdy's book, understands it all, and then still puts her child in it. I can't get over that. I can't get over it.
And when we're like looking at the world and we're like picking and choosing what we want from here, what we want from there, like, you're not just taking something, you're opening yourself up and you're opening your family up to like the gaze of hundreds of millions of people.
Okay.
You ask your 2-year-old, hey, Timmy?
Oh, these are the people who don't agree with the statement. Okay.
Yeah. It kind of seems silly, right?
It's silly to ask your kids. Yeah, so here's the thing. If you can't get consent from your children because, hey, Timmy's 2 years old, don't post the picture. Because you don't get consent. You cannot get consent. So just err on the side of caution and don't do it. Share it privately with people. Why do you have to share your children with strangers on the internet when you know there are literally millions of predators out there? Why is it so important for you to share that picture? Because of the like you're going to get from your friends? Because the comments? Why do you need that? What is that? Why is it so important to you? Again, and that's why Meta, YouTube, and all these people are getting sued for that. Because it's an addictive algorithm, because you're addicted to getting the likes and comments and be like, you're such a good dad. I already tell you're not a good dad. Because you're like, what am I going to do, get consent? That's great. What do you teach your children about consent? What do you teach them? Neck tattoos?
Like, like you're asking for their consent. Mm-hmm. You are the parent. You have the consent.
Yeah.
No, you don't. Morally, you do not. Yes, you can give consent for your kids. You guys understand where I'm coming with this, right? I'm not saying that you can't give consent for your kids, because you do. You have to give them medical consent when you go to the hospital to do anything. You have to give them consent to go on field trips. That is your job, to give consent for them to do things. I get that. But on this, morally, you cannot consent.
It's your position is to determine whether or not you putting this image out there is beneficial for your child. Mm-hmm. Safe.
Okay, Timu Bautista, you suck at this.
The insecurity.
Never putting your child on the internet is never going to be beneficial for your child. Never will it be beneficial to you. It might be beneficial to Shorty over here, little redheaded douchebag. Okay, looks like an onion. It'll be beneficial to him. It will not be beneficial to his child, because if they don't want to do it, they don't get the toy. It is never going to be beneficial. On the other hand, it will oftentimes be absolutely dangerous and scary. So just err on the side of caution. There is no plus side to posting pictures of your kids on the internet. None, except for you. Idiots. These guys are all idiots.
The consent thing, like goo goo gaga? Yeah?
Then don't put it on if you can't get consent. Wanker. This is the same kind of guy that, and I understand that, because there's people who take this too far. Right? And you got people out there, influencers, who are like crazy, cringy weirdos. They're like, I asked my kid consent to change their diaper. And it's stupid. That's dumb. Okay? But when it comes to public facing information, again, you just don't do it. Don't do it. Err on the side of caution. You're not being a good parent when you do this. You're being a good parent when you change your child's diaper, though. You don't ask consent for that. But you should always err on the side of caution when it comes to the dangerous things you put your children in. Right? Some people won't put their kids in football because of how dangerous it is. I'm not against that. I'm like, okay, cool. If you think that's going to hurt your child, then I wouldn't do it either. A lot of parents will be like, look, I don't want my child jumping off the roof onto the trampoline because they could literally paralyze them. Some parents will let them. And the parents who let their kids do that are bad parents. Okay, but there are certain risks you should allow your kids to take. And certain ones that you're like, okay, well, the risk isn't going to end them up dead. Okay, they're not going to wind up dead. So let them, do this, climb a tree, do this, and make a few mistakes, ride their bike down a hill, little things, okay? But there are things where you should just err on the side of caution. You know what's wrong. There's no benefit or good outcome from it, and that is posting your kids on the internet, okay? There's no benefit to it.
That seems kind of weird.
How old are your kids?
My kids are adults.
Okay, so I think that's where the disconnect is, because a lot of our kids are way younger, and when your kids were super young, like my kids' age or their kids' age, whatever, they literally had to go outside and play in the grass and play in the dirt and play in the mud and go make up games and do all these things.
My kids are not that old, okay?
You said they're adults, dumbass.
Right, but I'm 30, and I remember when I was growing up.
My kids are 18 and in the 20s, okay? They had technology, they had iPads, they had everything that you guys had.
I'm not saying that they didn't, but what I am saying is that it's not the same. It's not
18, 19, 20, even Sison, you're 24. You grew up with all technology. Not as much as, it's not as much, but it was pretty much the same.
You didn't just have to jump on TikTok and post a picture. You don't know who's seen that picture. You didn't have Instagram. There was no Instagram.
That's true. She's right about that.
There was
Instagram.
Okay.
18 years ago? No, your kids didn't have Instagram. Maybe when they were older kids, I guess. And it only had 25,000 users on this first day. So, again, they weren't on Instagram. Your kids weren't on Instagram. There was no TikTok. There was no Snapchat. A lot of those are dangerous too. There was Facebook, but that was about it.
Was how old, and was it viral to where
Instagram was around TikTok before my kid was even born?
No, I just proved to you it wasn't. Your kid was born in 2008. Your oldest was born in 2008 because they're 18 now. Okay, so and Instagram came out in 2010. Dumbass.
So.
Know your shit, bro, before you go on a show and say a bunch of shit. That's how you can tell this guy doesn't care. He's just spouting shit. He hates being wrong. You know this guy can't never be wrong. I already know that.
Okay. Is it viral to where it is like on TikTok now to if you post anything of your child?
He's lying. It was not. The same amount of shit that goes on the internet today, this is a relatively new thing. And I'm talking 10 years maximum. It is worse now than it ever has been, and it's only growing, by the way. It's only going to get worse from here, but like to this level, to where we scroll 24 hours a day and all of us do, okay? It was never like that a decade ago. It wasn't.
Instagram was way more toxic back then.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, Instagram was the number one dating app.
So why were your children on dating app? Are you hearing yourself, bro? Are you hearing yourself? So your kids were on Instagram as little children, even let's say up to the point of 10 years old. If your oldest, who was born, is 20 years old, was born in 2006, okay? Even at 10 years old, 2016, Instagram was 4 years old at that point, 6 years old. Are you telling me your 10-year-old was on Instagram? Are you serious right now? This guy's an idiot.
People who will literally send me death threats on Instagram because I'm a single mother. You're going to tell me that it was more hostile back then than it is now?
No.
I've seen people die.
Yeah, I saw live.
Okay, these guys are idiots. They're like, I saw people die, and he's right.
People dying on Instagram today, but that doesn't matter. We're talking about children.
Pause. Let's everybody take a deep breath. And we just encourage one person to talk at a time. We want to hear from everyone.
The reason why I didn't step forward is because I had a lot of mixed emotions. I agree with what he is saying. I also agree with what everybody is saying.
You can't agree with what everybody's saying. That's literally a debate. You have to take a side on this one. You can't take two sides on child exploitation and child endangerment. There's no two sides to it. Okay? It is dangerous. Don't do it. There's not like, well, I'll post just... Okay. I understand like the nuance to like, okay, you just post a picture of birthday or your kid won a soccer tournament, you pick a picture of them holding their medal. I don't see anything wrong with that, right? I think maybe she's saying that, but I'm saying these people, I'm talking about the little redheaded loser over here and people who use their children and who don't care about the consent. And the people who are prolifically on social media, like that redheaded kid and probably that guy over there.
It is funny, like he's saying, asking my child, like, hey, can I post you for your birthday picture? Like,
yeah, no,
I'm just going to post it. So
the times have changed. That's another thing we don't talk about. Times have changed. So yes, ask your child, even though you can't really get consent, but you should let them know, hey, just so you're aware, I'm going to post this, and it could be seen by literally thousands, if not millions of people. I want you to know that. Just be real with them. Start early, even if they don't understand it, start telling them young, because the conversation you have with your kids, the younger they are, the smarter they're going to be about those conversations later. Should be like, hey, I'm going to post this picture, and there's a potential that this picture could be seen by tens of thousands of people, by the way, depending on your platform too. Right? If you have a bigger platform, tell your children, hey, this is what daddy does for a living, and I'm going to post this picture of you, and it can literally be seen by hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. I want you to know that. And think about it. Let them understand. Even if they don't understand, they'll get it later.
Grandma and them can see it. But I don't post them all the time, though. I only post them for, like, birthdays, if we're out, family trip, whatever. But other than that, you won't see them on there because...
Well, you do see them. Don't say other than that you don't see them, because we do see them. You are posting them. So
people are weird.
You can limit who has access to the photos or anything that you post.
Yeah.
Not anymore. No, you can't. I mean, you can have a private account you want, but it's not fail safe, because there are people on your private account they'll follow that might be sharing it and tagging it, and then their audience can see what they've tagged and shared. It's not fail safe. It is really not safe no matter what. But if you are going to do it, and if you really truly do want to have like a private account with only family following and all that kind of stuff, there is, a lot of people don't understand the technology either. There is a way to stop it from being shared and from who sees what in some levels, but the social media platforms don't want it, and they make you run through a bunch of hoops, jump through a bunch of hoops to make that actually safe. And most people don't understand it, and that's the thing. And they don't have those fail-safe protections in. They don't have them because they don't come standard. You have to, again, jump through hoops to have more privacy on social media. Social media doesn't want you to have any privacy.
You could put it in a private group into where it's just family.
Do it through text message. Do a private group chat then.
Right? Or close friends. You don't have to put them on the public.
Man, would I have loved to have been in this debate. Damn.
Out there, pictures. Like, you will never see any of my kids on my platform or any of my stuff. Why? Because I don't want my children to have to deal with the heat that comes with me being their father, right?
Who is this guy? So you're admitting you don't want your kids on the platform, but at the same time you're like, well, I do it if I want. So you aren't going to do it, but you're advocating for people to be able to do it. That's real weird. That's weird, dude. You know that, right?
Because I say controversial things. I upset people, so I don't need them to have to deal with the backlash of the things that come out of my mouth, right? So I understand that, and I respect that.
There's a fine line, you know what I mean? Like, it's up to you when your kids are younger, what's appropriate to post, right? And for you keep them away from your social media, which might be good for me. My social media is built around family.
Yeah.
And I think there's
Stop saying family. It's built around your children. Stop lying, bro.
of toxic crap online, and there needs to be more wholesome stuff. So I think posting wholesome family content, there's no damage, to my children, and that's why I walked over here and agreed partly with kids should have consent.
You cannot have the platform that this guy has and say that you agree your kids should have consent, because then your platform would disappear. I cannot believe this guy actually had a seat. What a fucking idiot.
When they get older, and if they don't want it online anymore, I will remove it. Or if they don't want to do a video, I won't make it.
Yeah, but then you won't pay them. They don't get the toy. You admitted that out loud, you wanker.
It's too late.
I think the consent.
It is too, exactly. You're that lady, and they just glossed over. It's too late by then. You're right. It is too late by then.
It's a very big gray area, right? I think we agree that someone posting online exploiting their kid when they're making fun of them, they're crying, things like that, I think that's unacceptable, right? Sure. And I personally would never do that. When you see influencers doing that, yeah, okay, that is wrong. But it's, going to the park with my daughter, she's at a family event and all of our families right there. I think, I'm going to post that photo, right?
Why? They're all there. All the families there. All the people who care about your child are there. Why do you need to post? Just again, if I was sitting in the circle, I'd be like, explain to me why you want strangers to look at your children. Please explain it to me. Give me the psychology. What is the reasoning? Explain to me why you want strangers to look at your child on the internet. Give me a good reason why that's okay. I would love to hear the answer. Well, they bring joy. It's not their responsibility to bring joy to other people. And are you not scared of the predators that are also watching and taking the content? No, that doesn't bother you at all. If you knew they were, would you post the pictures? Right? I get these. They don't ask the right questions on this damn thing. Someone get me on this show.
And you can make it private on a private story. There's a lot you can do to limit it. I don't think you should.
Oh, private story.
Ever post your child in a vulnerable situation. Like, let's say they're in the bath, or let's say they're struggling with something. That is, crossing a boundary. And I think it's, pretty common sense to not do that.
It's not common sense because so many people do it.
I dig into that a little bit.
It's disgusting.
Because I think there's something interesting about, I think we all agree we should not post our kid naked, right? Nobody...
We all agree, but still a lot of people do it.
Here would do that, I hope. We shouldn't post our kid being really upset or and there's a scale for sure. But it's interesting to be like, oh, if I post my kid naked, it might be more likely that somebody will want to do something weird with that photo, right? But if someone really has ill intent, what's the difference between a naked photo and a regular photo?
Hopefully the platform would not let you post
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, but they do. So yeah, these guys are clearly uneducated in this whole entire thing in the platform. And they do let you. And you can go to Eamon and Beck and see the picture of their child naked right now if you want to. Don't do it, or just go to report it. And I have reported multiple times and messaged them multiple times that, can you take this fucking thing down? Are you serious right now? I've reported it multiple times, and Instagram comes back and says, we found no problem with this. So no, the platform doesn't give a shit at all.
I mean,
but if you have the wrong think politically, you could be booted off, no problem, right? No problem.
Yeah, but we can't trust the corporations to do that.
Obviously, and they're being sued right now for it and losing. So clearly, this guy just saying, oh, again, and maybe he's genuine in his well, I would hope that the platforms wouldn't allow it. You're wrong, dude, because they do. So now that you know that they do, what is your response?
We can't trust these tech companies for anything.
It's true. I mean, there's going to be weirdos everywhere, though, unfortunately.
For sure.
And so, you know what? It is what it is. I hate this argument. Well, there's weirdos everywhere, so let me post them for the weirdos, because they exist. No, dude. This logic is stupid. Yeah, there are weirdos everywhere, so stop posting them where the weirdos can get it. You can still take 1 million pictures of your kids, have the memories in your phone, share them with family members. But you just admitted there are weirdos everywhere, and so your answer to that is, oh well, you gotta be kidding me with this logic.
Be a weirdo when my daughter's 14 years old, when she's 18, when she's 6, 5, 4, whenever.
This is where discernment comes in, though. The same thing, it comes when they get old enough to where they start posting things. I had to tell my son, hey, take that off your stuff. I don't want that on there. Remove that. That's inappropriate.
And yet you don't care about the consent.
And he had to do it. Or he didn't have his phone. It's great, because I'm the parent.
Yep.
So, well, they're adults now, though. You said you have an 18 and 20-year-old? They're adults. It's weird.
It's like...
I need to find who this guy is.
You have to keep them from, at times, even doing things that they want to do, that they think is cool or, trendy, but it's actually detrimental for them later on, and they're not going to...
But you're missing it. You're so close, bro, but you're missing it. Why are your kids understanding what that shit is anyway? I bet you all of these people's kids, every single one in this room, their kids are on social media or allowed to have YouTube. They're probably allowed to have Instagram, Snapchat. They're allowed on YouTube Kids. Guaranteed. All these kids probably allowed to play Roblox. These, like, your kid should know what's viral. If your kid comes and be like, I want to do this viral video that I saw, you failed as a parent. I want to do this viral challenge. You failed. Your kids should not be on social media. They shouldn't even know what it is. Okay? It's like cigarettes and booze when they're young, when we were growing up. You don't let your kids have the Playboy magazine. Okay? You know it's detrimental to them. Okay? You know, you don't let them have drugs and have access to as much candy as they want and go to bed whenever they want. You'd be a bad parent if you did that. The internet is so much more dangerous than drugs even sometimes, depending what we're talking about. Okay? It's so dangerous. If your kids are like doing viral challenges and shit on the internet, you have absolutely failed them. 100%, and I will die on that hill. 10 toes down.
They see that in the moment. You have to have the discernment and the foresight to be able to get that, to stop that ahead of time.
My wife and I will go through our...
Well, to stop that ahead of time, bro, you would make sure your kids aren't on the internet. Now, I understand when they're 16 and 18, I get that. It's different when they're that old. I get it. But man, a lot of these people, their kids are out there doing weird challenges and acting like influencers and doing skincare and all this shit. And they're like 9. That shit is so dangerous, man. And I see it. My daughter, 13, not allowed on the internet. Not allowed on social media. Doesn't have unfettered access to social media or the internet. You know, and if she wants to ask something, she'll come to us. But I can tell the difference between her and her friends. Big time. Because they'll come over for these, like, they'll have those slumber parties and they'll do like challenges in the kitchen. Like they did a one where they're baking cookies and one of them was blind, one of them was deaf, and one of them couldn't speak or something, and they were filming baking cookies without these communication things. And I was like, where have I heard this? And I looked it up. It's a trend, because those kids, and it is what it is. I'm not going to tell another parent how to parent. Well, I am. I'm going to try to encourage you, right? But I'm not going to not let my daughter hang out with her friends because they are chronically online. I'm not going to do that either. But I will always tell my daughter that's those parents, they're just not like us. We love you. We really, really, really care about your privacy. We care about what's getting into your brain. And and the reason we do all this, the reason we keep you away from this is because we want to protect you. And we were very honest with her about it. And she gets it. Because she's really smart too. But again, these kids, you can tell the difference between kids who are not chronically online and those who are. And it is very stark, by the way. It is crazy.
Kids' phones, and our kids are younger, and I didn't think they needed a phone when they got it, but now they do have them. So we're going through their phone and we're seeing these TikTok challenges that they're recording. Now they don't have access to those platforms because we won't allow them to. But
how are they doing the TikTok challenges then?
Friends do. So I'm
the same thing I did.
Looking at these videos, and I have a 9-year-old who just for the first time had a fight video in his phone. And it was 9 and 10-year-olds fighting at an event that I let them go to with a friend. And I'm sitting and I looked at him like,
10 years old fighting.
Yo, why get this out of your phone? And I deleted it. And I had to explain to him why. So yes, I do have a responsibility of not posting certain things, but I'm having to realize even more now, I have to control what my kids want to post.
Of course you do. You're just realizing that now?
And even when they don't understand why I won't allow them to post it, or why I won't allow them to have a TikTok, why they don't have an Instagram, why they can't even watch YouTube during the week. Like, that's
One last thing, I think, like, to your point, Nikki, the technology these days, it's not just about what our kids, it's not like you go to a bulletin board and you post it and it's like, okay, you get to kind of control, someone's going to see it or whatever, right? Like, the technology is so crazy out there, and I don't even know the full extent of it, but like, people can scrape the internet for millions of photos in a day, right? You couldn't do that in 2010 when Instagram was first starting out.
No, you could, but you'd have to hire a very expensive coder, and there was a lot going into it. Now I can literally. You guys want to see how easy it is to do something on AI? Watch this. Here it is. See, I told it to code me this in 7 seconds. So I wanted to show you guys this because it's really, really important, because it took 9 months to develop the original Atari Asteroids, and it took Grok 7 seconds to make it. Okay, so Grok is ethical to some degree. Now, not for everything, okay? But AI, there are tons of AI programs that don't have parameters, ethical parameters around them, and that's where the predators will go. Okay, so if I want to go to one of those platforms and say, scrape the internet for pictures of kids this age, this group, in diapers, on the beach, you can do it. I wanted to show you guys how easy it is to get this stuff, okay? It's really, 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 really scary. Okay.
People had, maybe you could, but like that was like some dark web crazy stuff. It's so ubiquitous now to be able to use technology in a really nefarious way to influence people, to push crazy content, like make AI content to push to our children on YouTube, to like do all these things. And so for me, the question was really about, should I post pictures of my child full stop? Like their consent, they can't consent at that age because their prefrontal cortex is not developed yet, right? And I totally understand what you're saying.
Well, then they shouldn't be able to consent till they're 25, which I don't agree with. I'm just saying.
About like me as the parent having responsibility, I own that fully. Me as a parent, I have to really think about what is out there in the world, not to be a fearmonger, but like what's the risk versus reward of me posting this picture online, and like what are the potential damages?
Random question. When your kid asked for their first email account, did you...
Okay. So then there's that one, and then there's 4913 for digital footprint. Okay, let's go there.
When they hit the age, whatever minimum age it is to work in California, they're going to go out and find a retail job, a food service job, fill out those applications and find a job. It's going to be required. You can keep all the money, but you have to learn, you know, even if they're entrepreneurial, they can still do that, but I want them to understand what that minimum wage looks like.
There are parents that make their kids work and pay an actual bill.
Yes, there are some parents.
That's crazy if you do that, by the way.
That do need that.
I don't have to do that, and that my children won't have to succumb to that. And I think that is a privilege through the hard work that I've had and the education that I've built. But there are some people in America and around the world, like their kids have to work in order for the household to make it. That's very unfortunate. Like sometimes parents, they just need the help.
I'm worried that my child's digital footprint will negatively impact their future. Can you agree or step forward?
I hope they all step forward. That guy out there, standing there with the backwards hat on, is not stepping forward. When he doesn't let his children on his platform because of what he says out there, because it will negatively affect their... And he made his child take down an image or a video that he was doing and still doesn't agree with the statement. Come on, man! Step forward, bro. Think about it and step forward.
Like whenever they're older and they start posting on their own, like right now they are not allowed to have TikTok. They're not allowed to have any type of social media, just because when I did allow her to have it, the stuff that she was engaging with, posting, I immediately was like, no, you're not wise enough to know like this is wrong. I think as a parent, you should be trying to guide them to not make mistakes that could really affect them down the line.
Anyone and everyone should be worried about the digital footprint, right? There are definitely things I did when I was younger, but I didn't understand social media.
How much stupid shit do we do as kids, guys? If that was posted on the internet, all of us would be canceled. All of us. We grew up in a different time, 80s, 90s. We grew up in a different time. None of the shit that we did during that era would ever be acceptable today. But I mean, it was acceptable then, but it's not today, right? And there are people being canceled for things they said 10, 15 years ago on social media, by the way. And so it was a different time and a different place. We're holding our historical, like, forefathers to today's standards, and people don't understand it. So again, I get it. I don't agree with that. I should be holding, you know, them to today's standards, because they weren't today's standards. But at the same time, there's too many dumb people out there who will, and they will try to hurt you for it, just so you're aware. So I think all of us who didn't grow up on the internet until it was like, you know, high school and stuff like that, are very thankful that we didn't. Because the shit we did and said when we were young, holy shit. Would you not agree?
And
even the cringy shit we did. We were cringy.
In middle school, so I did some dumb things. And there are times I do worry about my daughter's footprint. Her mother did social media with her for a while. You know, they did videos, and I don't think they were ever...
This little redheaded wiener is about to be like, you know, you're right. It'll negatively impact our future, and yet you still do it, buddy. You do it. So I can't wait to hear what he says.
But it has kept me up thinking, okay, well, this video is out there of her, right? She was doing this, doing that, and I don't think it's bad necessarily, but you know, can the affiliation with, you know, something that her mom does come back to affect her? Something that I do?
Yep, it can. I'm glad he said it. The shit that you do will negatively impact your children, especially if they are famous on social media. It really will. It will absolutely negatively affect them in so many ways. Not only do they have to deal with that shit, whatever you did personally, look at Ruby Frankie. All those kids are dealing with what she did personally, but now they also have to deal with it publicly because she's very public out there. So all these influencers, parents who did something to get canceled and do a bunch of stupid shit, and Doherty doesn't, is coming down the line, by the way. Okay, they are all going to have to deal with that fallout of what their parents did. So again, not only privately with inside their family, but publicly also, and they never chose that, by the way. They never did.
think that it is, we have to be cognizant of that because the internet is a very dangerous place, and they need to know that things are.
They all admit that the internet's a dangerous place, and yet they're not all fully within they're not all being like, and so that is why I don't post my kids. No, they're all like, the internet's dangerous, but I also, I'll post some pictures of my kids.
Especially. So I step forward because social media is a scary thing, and kids will be kids, and they're not very wise. And me as a kid, we were at the forefront of that. We were
ruthless on the internet.
We were the brain rot of the internet. We posted whatever, and nowadays a lot of that's coming back to bite us in the butts. Me as a dad posting my kids, I post nothing that will ever come back to bite them in the butt.
You don't know that, you little leprechaun weirdo. You don't know it. You don't know shit. What if you do something stupid? It will come back to bite them on the ass because you have made them public. Sorry.
I do worry that, maybe they'll become too famous and won't like it. That's less of a negative, I'd say, because then they're going to have a lot more career opportunities in the future.
I think it's a slippery slope. I personally remember growing up and...
How's that working out for Alex Doherty? How's that working out for him? They will do this. They're like, I give my kid the gift of social media. I'll give them a big following. They don't... Again, if... All these children with social media followings because of their parents or because they're following on their channels. That doesn't do shit for them. Okay, they don't really. Alex says he's making $60,000. He's not. Okay, he's making a little bit of money. He's not making $60,000 a month. Okay, and he's the lol cow of the internet, of TikTok right now. And a lot of his deep, dark, shady shit is coming out right now. Even the shit he did as a kid is coming out to haunt him. Should he be held accountable for the shit he did as a kid? Probably not. But will he be? Probably. The court of public opinion is way different than anything else. They're like, well, legally he didn't do anything wrong. But it doesn't matter. If the shit that we did as kids came out, and it really was, we are going to be judged for it. And you know it. And because it's already, and we know it because it happens to a lot of people. Who's the most recent one where they said, was it your Mayor Mondami from New York City? His wife had tons of old tweets, like 15 years ago, calling people the N-word and being really anti-Semitic. It's coming back to bite her on the ass. Like the full N-word, ER. N-word. Okay? And a bunch of other shit. It comes back to bite you on the ass. It's just the way it is, man. A lot of these kids grow up on the internet and they're very, 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 very dumb. And they're entitled and they're spoiled. And again, look at Not Enough Nelsons. That girl, I don't think it was Navy or Nelson or whatever her name is. And Twinkly, I don't know what her name is. Has 2 E's in it. Or 2 N's. She said the N-word twice and is like fully almost canceled for her, okay? Just, it's not good. The way that you're raising these kids on these platforms, they think they are untouchable until they're not.
The digital footprint that I personally have made, if found by, potential employers, by, people in legal positions, like I genuinely kids could get in trouble. Like I was a victim of cyberbullying in middle school. Kids used to tell each other to kill themselves. Girls
still do that, by the way.
High school used to post inappropriate pictures on the internet.
Still do that, but more now. Okay.
Kids do it all the time. Like maybe if you're a parent who has restrictions on your kid's phone, which kids can make secret accounts. Kids can talk in private. There's ways for people to communicate.
Oh, they will.
In ways that the parents are not seeing up front. And there's a lot of really bad things I remember seeing as a kid.
Some of the things I said online when I was younger will probably get me canceled now.
And that puts...
Exactly.
You at risk.
And if that ever comes forward, and if you do get bigger, which I don't think he will, he's got 125,000 on Instagram is not a small amount. So he is pretty big. And if that ever comes forward and you get canceled for the shit that you just admitted you said, your kids are going to suffer for that. So shut up, man.
That's why, when you think that when you're asking, God for fame, or you're asking the universe, give me this, give me that, you have to remember, what you've put out there into the world, people are going to see that.
I definitely am not going to allow my children to have social media because of the digital footprint that I have left behind. I was not very...
That part, girl.
I wasn't the best girl in middle school. I wasn't a good little
Me too.
girl.
Nobody was, man. Well, there are some. But, a lot of us. Man. Shit, the kids who grew up in the 80s and 90s, you know what I'm talking about.
I was trying to be...
Damn, we were dumb kids. All of us were dumb at some point, or at least cringy.
Loud and a bad girl. And my mom didn't know. My mom had no idea.
We're going to have a perfect generational divide here. I'm interested to hear what y'all have to say, but I, like I said, was a child of the internet, the AOL dial-up CD. My husband and I started dating on AIM. Wow. I have our first conversation ever saved. I don't know why that happened, but so cool. Yeah, it's really hard to read back. Yeah, the stuff that we said when we were kids and trying to be edgy, and I think that will never go away. That's going to be true throughout generations, but I don't know, so much of that stuff doesn't even exist anymore. I tried to Google search the hell out of myself, and I'm really good at Google. A lot of those sites don't exist anymore, and like I said, I think that kids should...
Doesn't mean it's gone, by the way.
...be allowed to make mistakes.
This is where I think it kind of plays in. Is it a tool or is it your life?
It was my life because I couldn't go anywhere else.
See,
I was online.
You guys grew up in a much safer...
Man, ICQ, yeah, shit. Hey, MSN Messenger. Like, a lot of it we look back with nostalgic awe, and we're like, it was just an innocent time, and yeah, it was to some degree, but if some of those conversations, God, holy shit, man. Some of the things, man. Damn.
Internet than the internet that we grew up on.
We grew up in the wild west of internet, right? It was a wild
I was
west
in all the chat rooms. It was
chat
crazy.
rooms, yeah, holy shit. Yeah.
Those dial-up did
Predators that were having a field. You think Predators having a field day now? They were back then. They were like unfed. Like even to this day, lawmakers haven't caught up to the internet even close. So imagine how bad it was back then when it was new. Here's the scariest thing about this conversation right here. I don't really care about the rest of this conversation, but the scariest thing is that the first adopters of technology in any way are the ones who are going to use it for nefarious purposes. So hear that again. The first adopters, the people who get really good at technologies, are the ones who are going to use it to try to get to children. You understand? Using it for sex work and using it for nefarious purposes. They're the ones who early adopt, and they use it until it gets parameters put on it because they got caught for using it in that way. It always has been that way. I'm not sure if it's true. I think I heard it maybe on a movie, but I'm not sure if it's true. But the fight between HD and Blu-ray won because it's what porn shows. Now, I don't know if it's true or not, but it does make sense that whatever it's going to... The nefarious things that are used for it will push the market for that thing. You hear about this robotics movement and this push for big robotics, and the thing that's going to adopt it early, and I'm not kidding you, and I know it's gross, is sex robots. And it's going to push it to a new level because they're going to create it for people who are like that. And it's going to bring billions of dollars into the industry, and then it will expand out to other things like doing your dishes and fixing your car and mowing your lawn, all that kind of shit. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you understand? So when new technology like artificial intelligence comes up, those predators have been using it long before you even thought about it. Okay, they got a wind of it. They shared it amongst their little... It blasts so fast through their communities because they always try ways to get what they're looking for under the radar. And they attach themselves to technologies and shit before it's illegal to do those things until it's then changed, and then they move on or they continue on and get caught. Okay, so that's the only thing you really need to know about all these new technologies. It is always used for the most nefarious purposes first, and which what ultimately pushes it. That's us as a human being, as a human species. That's really what it is. And you can't argue with that logic. I'm sorry, there's no arguing with it. I mean, maybe space travel wasn't used for nefarious purposes, but it will be eventually. But hear me out. Digital technology and the porn industry itself runs that. Like, there are literally trillions of pornographic images on the internet. The dark web holds some of the most disgusting things. And so when these predators were looking for the children they wanted to use in the digital content, they were the first to adopt the AI technology to scrape the internet and to turn those images into what they wanted to. The first to do it. Okay? And then it became more popular amongst other things. And the lawmakers are 12 to 15 years behind that, by the way. It's insane, and you shouldn't post your kids on the internet. All these people, a lot of them had some cool things to say, but most of them were lost. They're not understanding it. They weren't really pushed back on. There was not really any salient arguments to be made here amongst what we really do know. Maybe Jubilee needs to have a full-on debate amongst parents and influencers about just children on the internet. You could do an entire episode on just that. Because that question that we first asked there, that was the majority of this video, by the way. It was the most important question, and it is becoming the most important question and talked about thing on the internet right now. It absolutely is, and I'm glad we're talking about it. It was a good video. I'm glad we did it. Everybody, take a deep breath. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Am I way off? Is my nuance not there? Am I too black and white? When it comes to protecting children, I don't think you can be too black and white. I really don't. I think it's err on the side of caution at all times. What do you think? Thanks for being here, guys. I appreciate you. You are some kind of something. Okay, let me know who that guy is, please. I'll talk to you next time.